Why did humans invent religion? The ancient idea that changed civilization forever. What if I told you that one of the most powerful inventions in human history wasn't the wheel, fire, or even language, but an idea? An idea so powerful that it united strangers, built empires, inspired breathtaking art, started wars, comforted billions, and still shapes your life today, even if you're not religious. The question is, why did humans invent religion in the first place? And what if the answer has almost nothing to do with the gods themselves? For tens of thousands of years, humans have looked toward the sky and asked the same impossible questions. Why are we here? What happens after death? Why do terrible things happen to good people? No other species spends its nights wondering whether the universe has a purpose. But somewhere along our evolutionary journey, our ancestors began creating stories about invisible beings, sacred places, and life beyond death. Religion didn't appear overnight. It emerged slowly, across different cultures, often without any contact between them. That alone makes it one of history's greatest mysteries. Was religion simply an invention to explain the unknown? Was it a clever survival strategy? Or is there something much deeper hidden inside the human mind? The answer takes us back to a world where every sound in the darkness could mean death. Imagine standing alone in a forest nearly 100,000 years ago. The sun has disappeared. You hear leaves rustling nearby. Is it just the wind? Or is a predator waiting? Your brain has only seconds to decide. If you assume it's just the wind, and you're wrong, you die. But if you assume something is hiding there, and you're wrong, you simply wasted a little energy. Evolution rewarded those who assumed that invisible agents existed. Psychologists call this hyperactive agency detection. Our brains became incredibly good at seeing intentions behind random events because false alarms were far less dangerous than deadly mistakes. But here's the strange part. The same mental system that helped our ancestors survive predators may also have made them believe invisible beings were everywhere. A mysterious shadow, a sudden storm, a strange dream. Instead of seeing random events, humans naturally searched for someone, or something, behind them. That tendency may have become one of the first building blocks of religion. However, this raises another question. If religion began as a survival instinct, why did it become so incredibly complex? To answer that, we have to look at another uniquely human ability. Humans don't just share information, we create shared realities. Money only works because millions of people collectively believe pieces of paper have value. Countries exist because people agree on invisible borders. Laws exist because societies believe in them. Religion may have been humanity's first great shared story, and shared stories are unbelievably powerful. Around 12,000 years ago, humans began settling into villages instead of constantly moving as hunter-gatherers. Suddenly, people lived among hundreds or even thousands of strangers. That created a problem. How do you build trust with people you've never met? Scientists later discovered something fascinating. Small hunter-gatherer groups usually relied on personal relationships. Everyone knew everyone else. But large societies couldn't function that way. Religion offered a remarkable solution. If everyone believed the same moral rules came from powerful supernatural beings, cooperation became much easier. You weren't just stealing from another person. You were breaking a sacred law. And perhaps someone invisible was always watching. This idea became surprisingly effective. Studies suggest that belief in morally concerned supernatural beings helped large civilizations cooperate long before modern police, courts, or governments existed. But almost nobody knows this. Many of the earliest religions weren't focused on heaven or hell at all. Instead, they revolved around ancestors, spirits, nature, and rituals. Ancient people often believed rivers had personalities, mountains possessed spirits, animals carried sacred meaning. The world wasn't divided into natural and supernatural. Everything was alive. Everything mattered. Then something changed everything. As civilizations grew larger, religions changed too. Gods became more powerful, more universal, more concerned with morality. Instead of protecting one tribe or one village, they governed entire civilizations. And this transformation may not have been a coincidence. Large societies required stronger systems of cooperation. Religion evolved alongside civilization itself. But here's where things become even more fascinating. Religion wasn't only about survival. It also answered questions science couldn't answer for thousands of years. Imagine losing someone you love. You don't understand disease. You don't understand biology. One day they're alive. The next day they're gone. Where did they go? For early humans, death wasn't just sad, it was incomprehensible. Archaeologists have found ancient burials dating back over 100,000 years. Some bodies were carefully placed with flowers, tools, ornaments, or food. Why leave gifts for someone who can no longer use them? Many researchers believe these burials suggest early beliefs about some kind of existence after death. Not everyone agrees exactly what they meant. Some archaeologists argue the evidence isn't conclusive. But one thing is clear. Humans began treating death differently from every other known species. And that may have changed history forever. Because religion doesn't simply explain death, it softens it. It transforms terrifying uncertainty into meaningful hope. Psychologists have repeatedly found that belief systems often help people cope with grief, anxiety, and fear of mortality. Whether those beliefs are objectively true is a separate philosophical question. But their psychological impact is undeniable. However, this creates another mystery. If religion provides comfort, why do so many different religions exist? Why didn't humanity settle on just one? The answer may lie in geography. Different environments created different challenges. Desert civilizations imagined different sacred stories than people living in frozen forests or tropical jungles. Cultures developed independently. Languages evolved separately. Yet something astonishing kept happening. Across continents that never contacted one another, humans created remarkably similar ideas. Creation stories, flood myths, spiritual rituals, sacred mountains, life after death. The details varied dramatically, but the questions remained almost identical. It seems humans everywhere were wrestling with the same mysteries. Who are we? Why are we here? What happens when everything ends? But here's an unexpected twist. Some scientists argue religion wasn't actually invented intentionally. No ancient leader gathered people together and announced, "Let's create religion." Instead, religion may have emerged naturally from several mental abilities working together. Our tendency to detect invisible agents, our love of storytelling, our search for patterns, our fear of death, our need for belonging. Each ability evolved for different reasons. Together, they produced something entirely new, a system capable of shaping entire civilizations. And it gets even crazier. Religion influenced far more than spirituality. It inspired architecture that still leaves people speechless. It preserved knowledge through monasteries and temples. It shaped music, literature, law, education, calendars, and art. Many of history's greatest masterpieces were created because people believed they were honoring something sacred. Of course, religion also has another side. History contains painful examples of conflicts fueled by religious differences. Wars, persecution, division. Most historians agree these conflicts were rarely caused by religion alone. Politics, power, territory, and economics often played equally important roles. But religion sometimes became the banner under which those struggles were fought. Like many powerful human inventions, it amplified both our compassion and our cruelty. Which raises perhaps the biggest question of all. If science now explains lightning, disease, planets, and evolution, why does religion still exist? Because humans aren't searching only for explanations. We're searching for meaning. Science tells us how stars are born. Religion often asks why existence matters. Science explains how the brain works. Religion often asks what makes life worth living. These questions aren't always competing. For many people, they answer completely different needs. Even among scientists, beliefs vary enormously. Some are deeply religious. Some are spiritual. Others are atheists or agnostics. The evidence doesn't force everyone toward one conclusion. Instead, it invites one of humanity's oldest conversations. And perhaps that's exactly the point. So, did humans invent religion? In one sense, yes. Anthropology, psychology, archaeology, and evolutionary science all suggest that religious traditions developed gradually through human culture and cognition rather than appearing all at once. But that doesn't answer every question, because even if religion emerged from the human mind, another mystery remains. Why does the human mind search so relentlessly for purpose in the first place? Maybe religion is humanity's oldest technology, not for building machines, but for building meaning. A way to face death without surrendering to despair. A way to unite strangers into civilizations. A way to transform fear into hope and chaos into order. Whether you see religion as divine revelation, cultural evolution, psychological adaptation, or something in between, one fact is impossible to ignore. Few ideas have shaped humanity more profoundly. And perhaps the greatest mystery isn't why humans created religion. It's why, after tens of thousands of years, we still can't stop asking the questions that gave birth to it.